types of barriers did you overcome on your road to entrepreneurship?
The barriers that I overcame on my road to being an entrepreneur. Now, I would have to say the hardest barrier to becoming an entrepreneur, the absolute hardest barrier to overcome is the barrier within. Because what I loved about real estate was that this right here allowed me to do things that I never thought possible. But it's also my biggest barrier. It would be much easier if the barriers were external, because you can knock those down. But the barriers that you don't see, you don't even think they exist. And that makes them even stronger. We all know about the placebo effect. When someone say, okay, we got two study groups, and we're going to give one study group a particular drug and another one the placebo. And what do we usually find out what happens? The placebo group usually do pretty well because they think they had a drug, right? What they've actually found is that they've done studies and tests, and they've given the group that had the actual drug, and they gave a doctor, and told the doctor, these pills are uppers, and we need for you to give them to your group. But they were actually downers. The doctor said, hey, these pills are uppers, and we're here to test how well they make you respond, and so forth. And they exhibited all the signs of being up when they were actually downers. They did another group, another doctor, another group of people, and they gave them downers, things that make you more sleepy, sluggish, and ready to take a nap, and told them that these were uppers, and went to test and feel how well did they respond. Every one that they did whatever the doctor told them. When the doctor told them that these were downers and it was really uppers, they felt sleepy, and they went to sleep. But so what that taught me was that our beliefs not only affect our outcome, our beliefs are the outcome. And when I began to understand the power in our beliefs, and the fact that every belief that we have today, really 9 times out of 10 are not our own beliefs. The majority of beliefs we have come from our environment and our peer group. And we don't realize it because we as humans want to fit in. We want to be accepted to some group. I even think about they talk about, remember the trench coat mafia guys? Even they had a group. So no matter they wanted to be outsiders, but they still had a group of people that they was with that you had to dress and act a certain way even within that group. So it doesn't matter, it's our nature to want to fit in and to be accepted. That also forces us to sometimes take on complete beliefs that are not even our own, that we may not be able to validate, that may not be true. They could be any belief. A belief that we are a victim, a belief that we cannot excel for a particular reason. I give you some beliefs that I grew up that I had to change. The fact that they say, what do you think? Money don't grow on trees. Well, yes, it does. I tell you, money is nothing. One thing I've learned: money is nothing more than a thought. You can think it into existence, or you can think it out of existence. It's nothing but a thought, and we all have a certain amount of money that we feel comfortable with, and we program ourselves. So when we get below that, we will do everything we can to get to that point. And if we get above that, we'll do everything we can to spin to get to that point. The key is finding that out, understanding that, and how to reprogram yourself, and doing that right there. So what I found was for myself was that I had to ask myself, what are my beliefs? Then after I found out what my beliefs were, do my beliefs work together congruently to get me where I want to be? Sometimes there's a mismatch. We may want to be one way, we want to be one place, but beliefs don't support that. So what that means is that we're not going to get there. It's going to be a crossing on the signals. And so I had to change my beliefs about myself, about my limits, change my beliefs when it came down to what I felt that I deserved. I felt that I deserve a lot. And I can get whatever I want. And it's up to me, and I don't have to tolerate anything. I remember one time I was going inside a 7-Eleven and I saw this sign that said, no shoes, no shirt, no service. Then I said to myself, I said, well, if 7-Eleven has a standard in which you have to enter their store, why do I not have a standard in which you interact with myself? Right. Is my standard lower than 7-Eleven? So then I had to change my standard. Mm-hmm. And when I changed my standard, people that started to come into my life began to change. Mm-hmm. Because there are a lot of people looking to come in, but it's up for you to accept who comes in. And when you accept one in, you block another. So I always say, when you say yes to something, you say no to something else. All the time. I also state, my belief is that whenever you're talking to someone, at that particular point in time, you're either getting a pay raise or a pay cut. There's no in between. Every conversation, every relationship you have. And there is nothing wrong with being wealthy. Nothing wrong at all. That's what we're supposed to be wealthy. We're supposed to use our minds to control our environment. Why not? We're supposed to use our minds to do more of what we do. I remember I asked myself, I said, Kenny, you know, money will make you do bad things. I said, wow. I said, well, if you give a righteous man $1 million, what will you have? I said, I don't know. A righteous millionaire. That's just the way I saw it. And I've been able to do more and give more and share more with those philosophies. So I would say, hands down, the biggest obstacle has become my beliefs, what I had to adjust, what I choose to accept, and the level that I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because comfort will keep you in an environment. I mean, what would they say? If you approach life casually, you'll end up a casualty. Mm-hmm. One of the phrases. Wow. And so I began to learn how to allow myself to be comfortable being in a new environment. That's when you're growing. You're growing when you're uncomfortable. And everything in life does two things. It's just a law. It either grows or it dies. Everything. And when you're not growing, you're dying. That's just the way life works. Mm-hmm. So the way that I grow is becoming uncomfortable. In my environment, in my speech, in the way that I carry myself, in my reading, in my thinking, everything I do, I become uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And that in turn right there has been one of the key elements to help me to grow as an entrepreneur.